what? Russell Branyan is having a year to remember. A career year. Last night, Russell Branyan hit his career high 20th homer of the season. He is having a year to remember. You know, his on-base percentage is up there in the high hundreds. I think it's around 400 or 500. His OPS is pretty good. His batting average is up there, 300. You know, he's having a year to remember. I mean, Ken Griffey Jr. coming back, he's done pretty good too. He might not be hitting at a high average. He's batting .213 right now. He has 10 home runs and around 25 RBIs. He's having a pretty good year. It's not like a Ken Griffey Jr. year, but he's having an okay year. If he could just pick up the production, this team could really make a run for it. You know, it's sad to see that Eddie Chavez got injured. You know, he's out for the season. They just acquired Ryan Langerhans from the Washington Nationals for young shortstop Mike Morse. But we'll have to see what happens next. Okay, folks, now we take a look at the standings here. Okay, when I look at this, you look at the American League East. You have Boston, you have New York, you have Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is overtook in Toronto. Baltimore is the bottom, cellar dweller this year. They look at the records. Boston's record of 48-30, win percentage of .615, and you got the Yankees 45-33. So they're up there for the wild card. And you have Tampa Bay at 44-36. So it's pretty close. And then you have the Blue Jays at 42-38, 7 games back of the Boston Red Sox. Yankees are 3 games back. Tampa Bay is 5 games back, and then we move down to the Central Division. Detroit. I even predicted at the beginning of the year. I remember saying this in April that I said Detroit's going to win this division. I think they will. It's one of the worst divisions in baseball. When I look at the Central Division, all those experts were saying Kansas City's going to win this division, no problem. They have the pitching, they have the young players, and this and that, blah blah blah. And I was 100% right. Now look at the Kansas City Royals right now. They're right near the bottom, second to the bottom. Look at the Cleveland Indians. They were actually supposed to be challenged for this division. Never mind making the playoffs and doing good. Look at their record. The Cleveland Indians are 31-49. That's unbelievable. That's terrible. What has happened to the Cleveland Indian pitching? They got no bullpen. The only good pitcher they have on that team so far this year has to be Cliff Lee. He's their only hope. I look at the other guys on this team, the other pitchers, they're just terrible. I just can't believe the way these guys are pitching so far this year, folks. Okay, and look at Kansas City. Zach Greinke's their only hope. I mean, the rest of the pitching staff has really fall off the cliff. I look at Brian Bannister. He's not done good so far. Gil Mesh has lost his confidence. He's not pitching strikes like before. He's getting homers off him every game. I look at some of the players like David DeJesus. He's not playing as good as he began at the beginning of the year. And that's what happens. You win a lot of games early in the season. And as the season goes on, you just start to play bad. And you just can't keep it together. So, will Kansas City ever win a World Series again? I really doubt it. It's been a long time since the days of George Brett and Bo Jackson. And I just don't see it happening for a very long time. But they're a good young team. They've had some injuries to some of their star players. Martinez had a good year. They threw him all over the infield and outfield. But I think Martinez is the key for that team. But I think he might get traded come trade deadline, probably to the Yankees or even the Mariners. They're looking for a third baseman to replace Adrian Beltre. Looks like he's done 6 to 8 weeks. So we'll see what happens in the next coming weeks. Okay, now we move on in the Central Division of the Minnesota Twins, a record of 41-39. And you look at the Minnesota Twins, since Joe Mauer has come back to this team, they were off to a terrible start. They lost their first 10-15 games. All of a sudden, when Joe Mauer comes back, they're back in the race. Joe Mauer has around 17-plus home runs. His batting average is pretty up there, 391. He's hitting the cover off the baseball. I just don't see where I look at Minnesota. They got some good young pitching. Blackburn, Staraziak, they have the potential. Liriano's starting to come on now. if they can get some bullpen pitching, you look at Minnesota with Joe Nathan as their closer, they have a good chance here with Justin Morneau, the former American League MVP. He's starting to hit the ball like crazy now. You look at Minnesota, they're going to be challenging for that wild card this year, never mind their division. If Detroit falters at any point this year, I don't think that's going to happen. Minnesota could easily win the Central Division. It could be like last year. Come to the last game of the season in the Central Division. Whoever wins the division makes the playoffs. It's as simple as that. I don't see any tiebreaker like last couple of years I've been seeing in the playoffs with the San Diego Padres, the Los Angeles Dodgers, and you know what, the Minnesota Twins and the Detroit Tigers. I just don't see that happening this year. I really feel whoever wins this division will make the playoffs. The other team will be staying home. So that's just the name of the game. So we look at the Detroit Tigers of a record 43-35. They're playing good. You know, Miguel Cabrera is playing good. He's hitting the cover off the baseball. You know, he's making his money now. The guy makes almost $20-something million a year. He's starting to earn that paycheck. He's healthy. He's hitting the cover off the baseball. Chris Granderson has almost 20 home runs now. He is unbelievable. Granderson has one of the best young center fielders in all of Major League Baseball. In recent news that he was at the recent pay-per-view for TNA, so it was pretty cool. And, you know, this Detroit guy, you know, he's a legend. You know, Granderson's a good player. He's a good person. And he understands the fundamentals of baseball. And he's showing it with his leadership. He's just a young kid, but he's showing potential beyond his years. He wants to get this team to the World Series for the first time since 2006. They want to win it. And I can see Detroit getting back there. If they play as a team, play as a unit, and gets a little bit of pitching, anything is possible. Hey, Verlander's starting to pitch again. And they got a young kid named Galarraga that's pitching amazing so far, too. So we move to the American League West. Only a few words. It's going to be a close race. I look at the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim at 43-34. They're playing better now. They're starting to get some consistency from their team. Torrey Hunter's starting to hit the cover of the baseball. Bobby Abreu's starting to play better defensively, and he's starting to hit for a good average and driving in runs. And then you look at the Texas Rangers. They don't have Josh Hamilton. They need a little more production out of Marlon Byrd and Andrew Jones. But what's going to happen with this team? They can't afford to even pick up anyone at the trade deadline. They're in dire straits. Tom Hicks is running out of money. Sad to hear that, but you never know. Texas can maybe make a move here, maybe acquire somebody, maybe unload some of their salary. Omar Vizquel. I know the Red Sox are looking for a shortstop. I could see a deal happening there. You know, they have some pitching wolves they need, so we could see some of them acquiring some pitching from maybe San Diego. We'll see what happens. There's Chris Young. He used to play for Texas Rangers. I wouldn't be surprised if Texas maybe pulls a move to acquire Chris Young. We'll see what happens, folks. There's not much else I can say. But baseball's a funny game. If it ups and your downs. I got not much to say. It's going to be a tight one for the rest of the year in baseball. The first half of the Major League Baseball season has been interesting. Manny Ramirez testing positive for some type of performance-enhancing drug for females. I don't get that, but he's back, and he's going to really help out the Dodgers in the second half of the season. The All-Star Game is just around the corner, folks. You know, I can't wait. You know, the All-Star Game's fun. The Home Run Derby and then the All-Star Game. Play for home field advantage in the World Series. It doesn't make any sense, but Bud Selig, you don't make any sense either. But you're still the man, Bud. You're still the best commissioner, best guy in the business. I think you're still the best. I'm sad to see Donald Fear is going to be retiring from the Players Union president. So that's just the name of the game. So I just want to say to all my fans out there, thanks for watching. And I'll bring back you some more news as the season goes on, maybe in a week's time. Take care, everyone. This is the one, the only, Mark Spencer. Bye-bye.